Hello, everyone. Happy Friday to you. I hope you're having a great day, whatever you are doing, wherever you are. And it is afternoon for many of you. It's 11 o'clock in the morning here in Arizona. And you might be watching this live stream during your evening. So, good evening to you, all of you in England and Europe. Thank you for tuning in. This is A Course in Miracles 365 Awakening to Love. I'm Tomas Garza, your host, and I'm excited to talk about today's idea. And this is an idea, of course, that stems from the workbook for students that we're going through here on this live stream. So whether you're actively involved going through these ideas right now or not, this may have been something that you've done in the past, or maybe it's something that you would like to do in the future. Now, if that's the case, what we're looking at is we're looking at an idea per day. There are 365 of them. That is the deliberate title, A Course in Miracles 365. It's a daily thing. It can be, of course, because what we do is we show up and we engage ourselves in spiritual practice. So, whether that's a daily occurrence for you or not, I hope that you may be doing whatever your practice is as often as possible. Because we find, don't we, as adult learners, that we need repetition. We need a lot a lot of repetition. Yeah, we do. We need to hear things dozens and dozens of times in order to have things sink in. You might even say, we're all stubborn. And you would be dead right about that. So that's why, as you go through a body of work like the workbook for students, like A Course in Miracles, like the Bible, if you are if you're a practicing Christian, or the Quran, if you're a Muslim, whatever it is, whatever your spirituality is, the repetition is necessary, isn't it? So we see ideas that are intimately interconnected with each other. They're related to each other. And in the workbook for students here in A Course in Miracles, they follow one another in a logical, deliberate, and predetermined succession. Remember, the course was dictated by Jesus. And, well, he knows what he's doing. So, yeah, let's just say that, shall we? Whatever your experience with A Course in Miracles is or is not, you are more than welcome to participate in the discussion here on this live stream. So I do want to invite you, before we launch into the day's idea, to have, if you have questions, please feel welcome to drop them here in the comment thread. I will look at this comment thread here on Enlightened World Network's Facebook page a little bit later in the broadcast. And if you're catching me on the replay, I look at them throughout the day. So comments, questions, or if you just want to drop in and say hello, that is also most welcome. So thank you for joining me here on the broadcast. All right. So what about this workbook idea for the day? Well, it's lesson 130, which follows lesson 129, which follows lesson 128, and so on and so on. Now, I stress today the repetition and the logical, the deliberate sequence of ideas here in this portion of the workbook, because they really do build on one another. 2 days ago on this live stream, we took an in-depth look at lesson 128. The world I see holds nothing that I want. Yesterday, lesson 129, we looked at the idea, beyond this world, there is a world that I want. So today, we follow up on both of those with lesson 130. It is impossible to see two worlds. Impossible. So right off the bat, you may take a lot from this statement. It is impossible to see two worlds. If you've tuned into this live stream before, you have heard me talk about a choice that we make moment to moment between love and fear. It, in truth, is the only choice that we make. Everything else that appears to us in the world, everything else that appears to us in life, with all of its levels, with all of its gradations and complexities, all boils down to this one choice. They're all derivatives of the choice. Have we chosen love or fear? And to put that even more accurately, what are we choosing right now in the present moment, which is the only moment that exists? There is a reason why spiritual teachers of all traditions the world over say that all of the action lies in the present moment. It's all there is. We don't need an extensive body of literature for us to intuitively grasp that the future is not here and the past is gone. We have only right now. This means we have the opportunity right now in the present moment to choose. The present moment is referred to in numerous traditions as a miracle, as a wonder, as an opportunity. Yes, just yes to all that. This is where we choose. Now, the choice we make right now determines our next experience. The choice we make then will determine our next experience, and so on and so on and so on. The future is not here, the past is gone. So, lesson 130, it is impossible to see two worlds. So let's say a few words here about perception in the world, because we perceive things backwards. If you want to say we perceive them wrongly, that is in fact 100% accurate. Now, the ego is, of course, extraordinarily resistant to that. It's extraordinarily resistant to just about everything, if you really think about it, but especially changes of mind and thoughts and perception that will render it nothing, which it really is. In the end, it's nothing. So, it is, in fact, impossible to see two worlds. It's impossible to see the world of love, our reality, when we're stuck in a fear-based perception. Let's go through the first paragraph here of the commentary today, and I'm going to pull it up, and we're going to go through the very first paragraph of lesson 130. So if you've got your books, please feel welcome to follow along, or if you'd like to look this up online, if you don't own a copy of the course, all of this information is readily available online, and it takes only a Google search to pull this up. I'm going through verbatim and commenting on the first paragraph of lesson 130. It is impossible, and I stress impossible, to see two worlds. Perception is consistent. Okay, it is. It's consistent. Whether it's helpful or whether it's unhelpful, it's consistent, right? What you see reflects your thinking. And we've talked a lot about the power of our mind. We've talked about our true power, which is, of course, beyond the thinking mind. It's the power of God, because we're one with God. That's what it means to say that we're created in his likeness or image. There is no image of God. Love extends itself. Right? If we want to take a photograph of God, you can't do that, right? There's no picture of what God looks like. I mean, people can paint little anthropomorphic figures on a pamphlet that they go and they leaflet and drop on people's doors and things. Yeah, well, let's all just accept the fact that God is not a human being. God, and therefore, God's not a man with a beard, a white man, no less, with a beard, throwing thunderbolts and torturing us and laughing the entire time. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. No. Perception is consistent. What you see reflects your thinking. The world you see reflects your thinking. And your thinking, but reflects your choice, I'm quoting here, of what you want to see, okay? Your thinking reflects your choice of what you want to see. So question, do you want to see fear or love? We have a choice. This is the choice that I was referring to a moment ago, that we have right now in the present moment between love or fear. What we choose determines what we see, not the other way around. Okay, this is very important. What we choose determines what we see, not the other way around. This means, if you're following along and you're getting a light bulb going off that, hey, I'm more powerful than I ever gave myself credit for, more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Yeah, yes, you are. We have this innate capability to choose love. We choose love, we see a loving world. This is what we were talking about yesterday. Beyond this world of frantic disarray, hatred, pain, and fear is a world that we want, a world of love, a world of constant happiness, of plenitude, in other words, fullness. Here we experience lack. It's a choice. And we make that choice right now in the present moment. That choice determines what we see. We're in control of what we see. We, each of us, is in control of our own experience. If you experience pain and suffering, you are in control of that pain and suffering. Can't go back on the past and change something that you may have chosen last week or earlier in your lifetime. However, you have the opportunity to choose love right now and radically alter your course. You do that often enough, you'll begin to see the world very, very differently. That's the world that we want to see. And then ultimately we wind up exchanging that for the true peace of God, which is beyond this world. It's beyond words. Communication flows directly from God to us without language. No, it's simply understood in the same instant that it's communicated. That's beyond the scope of this course, because this course meets us where we are. It prepares us for this. Beyond this world, lesson 129 is a world that I want, the world of a forgiven world of constant happiness and joy and abundance is the world that each of us wants deep down. It's peace. In that state, the way the Course describes it, God takes the final step himself. In other words, we're prepared to exchange every illusion for the constant experience of the truth. So, A Course in Miracles or any spiritual practice meets us on the level where we find ourselves, right here, thinking that we're separate, thinking that we're a body, and believing that if you choose fear, you'll see fear, attack thoughts, right? Lack, scarcity. All right. So the question then becomes, what do you value? Because what you value, you choose. I'm still in paragraph 1 here of lesson 130. What you value, you choose. Okay. You must want to see it. In other words, if you value it, if you value fear, you'll see fear. If you value love, you'll see love. Now, the beautiful thing here is that it is impossible to see two worlds. You cannot see both love and fear simultaneously. You choose one or the other. Now, what happens, let's say you begin right now to choose loving thoughts. How do you consistently choose them? Well, how do you practice your own spirituality? And what does that look like? Perhaps if you're practicing a different tradition or several different traditions, these ideas from A Course in Miracles, which are universal spirituality, can assist you. There are plenty of people that use these ideas from this course to augment their own practice, to help them along the way. And this is something that you could choose to do if it so speaks to you, because these course ideas do not have to be adopted as one's primary practice. If you choose to do that, I've chosen to do that, then that is perfectly fine. However, they can serve as a very handy adjunct to your current practice. So I can't stress that enough. This is a self-study course. So you're not required to believe anything or reject or adopt any philosophy or tradition that you don't want to, which is very, very important that we all feel that we have that freedom, because we do, we really do. Now, many of us were raised differently, and that's okay. That's why we're watching this. It's because we were raised differently and it didn't resonate with us. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that that applies to many of you that are watching this right now, is that you were raised differently and you at one point began to seek for a different way. Mhm. So it's impossible to see two worlds. So what we must do is, well, we must choose which one we want to see. Now, the ability to have that conscious choice is a great starting point. Think about it. We spend so much of our lives unconscious, so to speak. We're on autopilot due to the conditioning that we all receive from a very young age. And we're in a process now as adults of, well, reconditioning ourselves or unlearning, so to speak. We're letting go of what no longer serves us. So, one of the things that you can do is ask your teacher, your inner teacher, or your human teacher, if you have one, ask your guides for their to show you, for their word, right? For their guidance, to show you your own strength so that you may choose appropriately. Yeah, so that you may find your own freedom, your own sense of power. A lot of these exercises in the workbook for students involve a brief recitation of the day's idea or a derivative thereof, and then a period of silent practice where we rest in quiet. That's where we hear our inner teacher. Now, if you're following A Course in Miracles, that's where we hear the voice for God, in other words, the Holy Spirit. This is where we hear our guides, and it's in quiet. When we're running around frantic, we don't really hear anything at all. So, does this sound simple? It is, in fact. Yeah. Spirituality is quite simple. We have a choice moment to moment. It's impossible to see two worlds. We get to choose which one we want to see. And it's highly, highly critical, isn't it? It's very, very important that we value the world of love, that we value a sense of abundance and the world that's available to each and every one of us. Okay, so if you're catching me on the replay here on Enlightened World Network, feel free to drop in and say hello. And I will be back here tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your Friday. I will see you all again very soon.